right, here we go. All right, everybody, this is Terry with NSPS TV Paranormal Podcast, Raw and Uncut. And tonight we have a very special guest, a young lady from a very unusual name from Hood Paranormal. So, hey, everybody, let's give a big shout out to Michelle. Michelle, how you doing?
Doing good. Thanks for having me, Terry.
Hey, no problem at all. Now, let's tell the world about your paranormal group, what exactly that you do, where you're from.
All right. Well, we are Hood County Paranormal out of Hood County. We are based in Granbury, Texas, and we travel pretty much anywhere we're needed. We tend to like to help people out whenever they're scared or they've lost something. I have a partner, Mike, who is kind of my spirit sidekick, and he and I connected from day one. So we're kind of like the paranormal twins, I guess. And we're able to feed off of each other, and spirits tend to like to use both of us. We have a lot of, matching things. One will touch me, he'll feel it. One will touch me, it'll go back and forth. We work really well together. We have a team of about 10, primarily 4. It's myself and 2 to 3 other people that do most of the investigations, but there have been other people when we can't go. But we have a healer also that comes in, and she's amazing. She's been in it for a long time. She's German and Indian. American Indian, so she has a very nice vibration that does not affect any kind of, paranormal things coming through. Mike and I are very sensitive to vibrations. So the more movement around, the more humans, the less that we can pick up. Human vibrations really interrupt the spirit.
Okay.
So we try to keep it in. Mike and I don't use any machines. We just go in raw. We usually go in first. Our founder and our head lead, he sits outside and he's watching through cameras everything that we're doing. So we have someone outside at all times watching. So Mike and I generally go in first. We do our investigation, and then, we kind of summarize what we've got going. And then after that, the other team goes in and they use the machines and things like that.
Wow, that is a very interesting setup that you guys have there, because most paranormal teams will go in, guns blazing, cameras and everything, and just ready to, you guys actually take the time to actually, go in, and use your senses to, figure things out, and that's where you guys are thinking. That's where you guys can have kind of a sense on what you're getting yourselves into.
We do. Mike and I believe in not reading anything about any investigation. If we're going to go someplace, I don't want to hear, I don't want to know, because, the mind is such a crazy thing.
Right.
You don't think that your mind is influencing your outcome, but it's impossible to not. If you already know the ending of a book, it's going to be hard to read the chapters prior to the end of the book. Right. So if Mike and I don't need the end of the book, we never have to deal with the bullshit of, oh, well, they knew about it beforehand or any of that nonsense. We can, the debunkers, they have no stand with us. And the machines, a lot of times they don't read what Mike and I read.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
I mean,
a machine is a machine.
Yeah, you'd be surprised what the human body and the human mind can, if you take a little time to actually, go through that whole process that you guys go through. You'd be surprised what your body can actually catch up on, like your hair standing up, the goosebumps, it's just the small things that your body can actually catch up on, like you're saying, that other, ghost equipment can't, and that's,
and I mean, I'm not saying that the ghost equipment is not helpful. I know nothing about it. I know there's some machine that spits out words that has actually, after the fact, has came in very handy. I tend to like that one after the fact of me going in, or with Mike and I going in. we prefer to have Mike, myself, and our healer go in because she can actually videotape it. She can go in and be within the room without interrupting the room. So we really enjoy her being there with us. And of course, we like Gabe being outside, you know, with the video cameras. And I know a lot of people, they love orbs, and orbs are just like the gravy on top of the biscuit. I don't care about orbs. I live in orb land.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, my whole life is orbs. You know, everywhere I go, pretty much, I'm seeing something. Something's in the corner. There's an attachment to something.
Right.
You know, so I don't do any of that. And that's cool. Orbs are cool. But when you've lived your whole life like this, it's like, you know, okay, it's an orb. Yeah, of course there's going to be orbs. There's spirits everywhere.
Now, do you guys consider yourselves mediums or? I mean,
man, that's the question, Terry. Now that's the question. What do we classify ourselves
as? Because, you know, I've heard people say, well, I'm a medium, you know, I'm a white lighter who's white lighters, you know, I'm pretty sure you know what there are. They're in spirit. And,
you know what, man, I don't watch any of that stuff. I don't listen. I'm probably the most non-paranormal person. You know, I just don't watch it. I don't listen. I don't know what I just do. I just know when I go in and do it. Even when I'm doing it, half the time, man, I don't even know what I'm doing. It just has a really good outcome. You know, it's one of those things where it's just a natural kind of thing. It's part of my DNA. I remember I took a medicine one time that blocks everything. Like it just muted everything. And I don't know how normal humans live that way.
Wow.
Like to have absolute no sense of other people's emotions or anything. Because I am definitely an empath. I not only emotionally feel people's pain, I also physically can feel their pain sometimes, which is actually pretty excruciating in some accounts. I can hear spirits. I hear spirit chatter. Not so much in the city. You know, all the 4G, 5G, all that tends to block a lot of
that.
Yeah. But you know, even a thunderstorm, you can't hide in the city. If it's a good thunderstorm outside and they're able to know how to pull in that energy, I mean, it is what it is, and I deal with them. And
well,
I ignore a lot of them.
How often do you guys get a chance to go out? You know,
we had a lot more opportunity before COVID, but now, you know, we just aren't getting the calls, and it's really hard to, you know, coordinate schedules.
Right.
But I've done a few. Of course, I like to do the quieter ones, the one-on-one. I like to find things for people. That seems to be my talent. I can find things. Wow, you know, I can do so many little things. I'm the master of none, you know. So it just depends on the day. But I kind of want to touch on the fact that people like myself, we have a responsibility not only to help people, but to also give people the right of privacy.
Right.
Because people like me who sense people's pain and know things about them that they shouldn't, like deaths in the family, things like that, we have a responsibility to try and help them. And sometimes by helping them is to leave them alone.
Right.
I mean, for example, I was at a Target a couple years ago in a bad place for myself, you know, in my own world, standing there, and I had this overwhelming sense of sadness. And I turned around to this older man and I said, "I'm so very sorry about your wife." And he teared up and said, "Oh, did you know her?" Well, at that moment, I knew I had screwed up because I had let my own personal life break down my walls. And when I opened that up, he was fine. He was not sad. He was fine behind me. I interrupted his day, the day where he was holding it together to go do an errand at Target. I took him to a place he didn't need to be. He was barely hanging in. And I had to tell him, no, sir, I'm very sorry. You know, I'm just very sensitive to these things. So I interrupted this man's life and brought grief back into him that I should not have.
Now,
So within having these,
go ahead.
Go ahead, Terry.
No, go ahead. It's all you.
No, I was just going to say there's a lot of responsibility with that.
Yeah, it seems like it can get you into trouble at times if you don't.
You know, it can be used for good or evil.
Yeah.
And being the redheaded woman that I am, sometimes I use it for a little bit of naughty. But you know, it can be used for good or evil.
Well, do you have any kids that have this same?
I do. I actually come from a long line of abilities. Now, you know,
okay.
I come from a generation in an area of East Texas that, you know, the past is the past and you leave it alone and you don't talk about things, you know, old school.
Yeah.
And I know my grandmother had some talents of her own. I've seen her flip dice after they were already resting.
No way.
She called it Fujiing, and she would Fuji. Now, you know, of course, no one believes that, but I know what I saw. And then my mother, she's a very strong empath. Okay. My youngest child is a very strong empath. And my son is also an empath, and he sees spirits and things, but he does not like to talk about it. He does not. Yeah. Okay. And my middle daughter is talented too, but she is, due to her religious beliefs, she chooses to not endeavor in anything like that.
Wow.
But she is not like us. She is actually, it's kind of, I call it a calmer. So it would be a person who you would see walk up to a ferocious dog and the dog would flop on its back and she'd rub its belly. You know, she could walk up to the bull that was too rank at a rodeo and the bull would, you know, calm down around her. She is a calming essence about her. I am not. I tend to get things a little bit rowdy when I walk around. But she's calm. But, you know, I respect what she believes. Yeah. So
that's all you can do, you know.
Yeah, but I raised 3 great humans and I have 4 grandsons. So
wow. Okay, now did it get passed down to them that you know of?
You know, I swear that my second grandchild used to talk to me before he could talk.
Oh,
I can hear, "Hi, Nana," and he was not old enough to talk yet. But you know, you never know. And once they get past a certain age, sometimes they lose it. It feels like it comes in spurts with children. But here's an odd thing that I've realized lately that I've never noticed before. I'm big on vibrations. Everything has a vibration that is living or has lived has a vibration.
Correct.
Tree, you know, of course, paper and things like that don't have their own vibration anymore. They have what they've absorbed. Because as we all know, you know, wood and rock and all of these, you know, elements, they absorb vibrations, people and spirits and things like that. But I have noticed where babies used to not have vibrations until they were up older. Babies are being born with a vibration now. And that's in my own personal, you know, thing. And you hear about these babies, you know, they'll say these COVID babies are different babies. You know, they really are. I know some people who have had some COVID babies, and those babies are born with vibration of their very own. Not their mother's vibration, not a silhouette of anything. It is their own vibration. And I've been noticing it for about 4 years, but these COVID babies, they are a whole different baby.
Wow. Oh, that is something, you know, within the
I'm curious to see what they're going to do when they develop. Like when these COVID babies hit puberty and start coming into their own, are we going to have an awakening of all of these spiritual babies who are able to do things that...
And you know what? That would not be such a bad thing because this world needs an awakening.
Yes.
It needs something new, you know.
Yes.
So where,
I'm just
you know,
afraid that they're not going to have enough self-awareness to be able to use it. I'm afraid there's going to be a generation of children who all think they're crazy.
Well, you know, everybody, you know, my grandparents, I mean, I'm pretty sure your grandparents had those abilities, and it just
Oh yeah.
goes, you know, everybody think everybody's crazy, but you know
I
what?
don't know about your people, but my people said it's your gut instinct. Go
Oh
with the
yeah,
gut.
oh yeah. I mean, I can tell you some stories about, you know, my family and the generations before me that you would
Mhm.
just you turn your you're like, what the hell is going on? You know,
Right.
and to this day, I'm still saying what the hell is going on.
Oh, it's
You
an
know.
everyday thing. Yeah. And I see, I see people with attachments, and I'm like, man, your life must be rough because you need to undo that juju, whatever you got
Yeah.
going.
Uh, all right. Well, you know, how often? I mean, because to me, when COVID hit,
Yeah.
I can honestly say we actually got busy. We
Really?
we picked up. Uh, it seemed like every week or yeah, we're just busy, 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 busy. You know,
Nice.
yeah, it did not stop for us. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know what it was, but you know, people, couple phone calls here, a couple phone calls there. Somebody who's saying they're out visiting, you know, their grandparents at a
Mhm.
graveyard, swear they saw this, you know, and we'll get a call from there, you know,
You
and
know,
we'll just,
graveyards are a weird thing. Everybody has a different, you can ask each person in each paranormal group, and they're going to have a different vision of a cemetery. Me,
yeah.
that's my peace place. When
Oh,
I
same
need
here.
when I need silence, when I need to be into my own thoughts, when I'm questioning whether, am I thinking what the people around me are thinking, or is this my own true feeling? I go grab a lunch. I go to a cemetery. I will automatically be pulled to one place or another.
Mhm.
And I'll sit there and I'll sit, but I have only one time in my life of going to cemeteries have I ever felt. Now I don't go at night because I'm not one to be pushing my luck. But but I'll I'll go during the day. And I have lunch and it's peaceful and I can actually figure out what I'm feeling instead of what other people I'm
Right.
absorbing from them, because you can get an absorption overload.
Yeah. I mean, I've been by myself during the night, and believe it or not, Michelle, I've felt at peace.
Yeah.
I mean, I like, man, I mean, I don't know if I sense anything. I mean, I don't know if I have that spirit, you know, that spiritual
Right.
connection like you have, but I just have this overwhelmness of peace. And you know, and I'm able to see things a lot clearer, you
Yes.
know, and I'm like, but in my mind is like, Terry, what the hell are you doing here at
Yeah.
night?
Get out of here. You were taught, and a lot of that is we were taught by either media or our family that, you just don't mess with that.
Yeah.
But as in my own experience, unless a person is confused when they die, they are attached by, I call it a spiritual umbilical cord. They are still slightly attached. They're not in their body, but they're still connected to their body until the split second where they realize what has happened. And
Right.
the only time I've really encountered someone actually lingering all the way up to, say, the funeral were people who didn't think that they could leave their family, or the ones who just could not understand what was going on.
Right.
That they were just so confused, like car wrecks that happen split second, or heart attacks where they're still attached. But
Exactly.
other than that, I don't know how these other spirits got here or why they're here.
I don't know. Yeah, it's weird to me. You know,
But they,
I was always told that, you know, if you have something that, you know, you're attached to and something that you like and you can't take with you, they're
yeah,
gonna hang around, you know. But then again, if everything that you need in life is all okay and you know,
right,
I have no reason to hang around, they're gonna go, you know.
yeah,
And it's kind of weird to me, but you know, it is what it is. That's what the paranormal world is about,
yeah.
you
I
know.
don't think there's one right answer. I
No,
don't. I think spirits are just as individual as humans.
yeah.
I mean, just because they're dead doesn't make them any less human
And
to
I
me.
think that, and to me, this might be me, this might be me. you know, personally, but I think they're just as curious as
Oh
they
yeah.
are a lot, you know, when they're alive as they
Yeah.
are, you know, dead, you know, because some of the stuff that we have, okay, let's take an example.
Okay.
Somebody's back in the 1900s, you know, that died, and you know, and their spirits are hanging around, and you know, and somebody like me that has a ton of equipment in their hand, they're just quick curious to know what the hell that is,
Right. Or scared.
or scared.
Which
You're
is
like, oh
why
my
I
god,
think
I don't know
Mike
what the
and I
hell.
have such really good responses, is because we are just two humans going in to talk to other humans.
Human,
You
exactly.
know, there's not a bunch of beeping, and that machine that makes all that noise, it's like it does that loud white noise. That thing literally sends me on edge. I can't even handle it. It's literally like penetrating my soul. And I
I'm
think, you know, if spirits feel the same way about that box, no wonder they're
yeah.
talking to the damn thing. They're like, turn that effing thing
Thing
off.
off. You know,
Yeah.
I'm lucky I don't have one of those. And I don't think I would ever get one, you
Yeah.
know, for the simple fact, you know, for it can, if it drives me crazy, I know it's gonna drive them crazy, you
Oh
know,
yeah.
you
Oh
know.
yeah.
So where do you guys mostly concentrate on paranormal activity?
Well,
Houses? Uh
yes, we do. They have done jailhouses before.
okay.
They have done, you know, historic places within Granbury. We've gone to Glen Rose. We did a house that was an old sanatorium where Mike and I actually found, well, a boy who had committed suicide came
Oh
through,
no.
which in a circumstance like that, you kind of wish you did know, because you
Right.
are not prepared. As someone who they come through and speak through sometimes,
Oh,
um, you're not prepared for a child to be apologizing for doing what they've done to themselves and apologizing to their, I'm still a little emotional for me, you know,
right.
to apologize to their mother for doing it. And I mean, I literally took this woman, I embraced her like if it was my own family member, and said, he's so very sorry. You know, he's so sorry. And I'm overtaken by this grief. And so in a way, I wish I had let myself be notified of that fact, but I also didn't want to put any kind of falsehoods in my brain that wouldn't be completely organic,
Right.
because I'm very much about organic readings.
Wow. Okay. Now, let me ask you a question. What do you think that, uh, you know, 'cause there's a one thing I've noticed is there's a lot of paranormal teams here in Texas.
We
Uh,
do love ghosts in
yeah.
Texas.
So here's the question that I have
Well,
for
it
you.
starts from the Holy Spirit, you know, and then that gets us all curious in church. So then we grow up to
Yeah.
chase.
What makes Texas so different than any other state in the country when it comes to paranormal?
Well, hell, we're not scared of anything.
Yeah, we're definitely not scared of anything. I mean, I'm living proof there. You know, I've been through hell and back. You know, but
Right. You know, I
they
think that most of us are not taught to be scared of it. You know, of course, you have to be respectful religious wise, because, you know, most of Texas is, you know, in one way or another, you know, Southern religious. We'll call it that,
right,
Southern religious. We'll just wrap it up in that tidy box. But, you know, I think that all of our people talked about ghosts, or, you know, spooks in the night, or, you know, something like that. So it wasn't completely out of the realm. It's when it becomes taboo is when people feel like their religion is being attacked,
it's being
like their
attacked.
beliefs in, we'll say, Christ or something. That's when you start having you hit the brick walls,
Right
you know.
now, have you come across anybody? I know I have, that came to me personally and actually told you, hey, I don't like what you're doing. I think what
Oh
you're
yes.
doing is totally fucking disrespectful to the dead. I
You
think you
know,
should fucking stop.
I've been called a witch. I can't tell you how many times I've been called a witch, because I also study herbal medicine and things like that. I've been called a witch, which is one of the nicer, flattering words I've been called. But yeah, I've had a lot of people say, "What you're doing, you're going to burn in hell for."
Yeah.
Um, you know, or things like that. And I go, well, just in case you don't make it to hell and you stick around after you're dead, you know where to find me.
Exactly.
So, you know, I'm not too worried about it. And I thank them for their opinion, and I bless their little heart and send them on back to their unsweet tea, because obviously they don't drink sweet tea or they wouldn't be acting so sour.
Now, is your any of your mom or dad still around? Are they all?
My mom and my dad are both alive.
How do they feel about you doing what you do? Are they
My
okay with it?
mother and dad are supportive of it. My mother, as an empath, you know, of course, as a mother, she's worried that, you know, I'll be brutalized or something by
Right.
some naysayers. But I mean, she's pretty much realized I'm not scared of much of anything. And she pretty much raised me that way. My mom was a teacher and my dad was in the oil field. So I come from pretty tough stock.
Well,
So
okay.
not
Hey.
too worried about it. And, you know, everyone has a right to their opinion.
Yeah,
You,
and
and
that's what I like.
yeah, I don't worry too much, you know.
And,
I just don't.
I mean, do you guys have any? I mean, me personally, I always got to have this one person that's on the team. People might say that either he or she is negative. Do you have that one critic that just goes in and debunks everything that you're trying to do?
Within our team,
Yes.
no, we don't. We have
You
a
don't?
very positive team. Yeah,
Okay.
everybody who comes in, whether they be, because we kind of have different tiers of our group. We kind of are
Oh.
compartmentalized. Each one of us has our own skill. Like my friend who brought me into this, she was with the group long before me, and she said, "Girl, we need you. You need to come." So she brought me, and I actually got her out. She was about to be suffocated by a spirit. And I actually got everyone out of the room and stayed, because that's just my nature. Like, I'm like,
Right.
oh, y'all get out of here, because someone's gonna hurt you. Here, let me shut the door in this pitch ass dark room so that I can deal with it, because I'm insane. But anyway, you know, we have a really strong group. We have people that come in and assist with setting up and things like that. And then they, you know, don't mind stepping back and letting, you know, Mike and I kind of take the lead.
Right.
And say, hey, this is what, and I have to say, as being the sassiest one, I pretty much just bulldoze and say, hey, listen, this is what I need. If you want this, then this is what I need for this to happen.
Okay.
Because, you know, and it works, and everyone's really, really good about it. Everyone has their position.
Everybody,
and, you know, without our founder, you know, Gabe Gonzalez, then out there, you know, taping it and things like that. You know, he's kind of the fundamental base. You know, we need him out there to record it. But we are about to add chest cams on Mike and I for full visual and audio, so that he and I can go in and do our thing without having to worry about everything. So, you know, we'll be putting out some content to where you can see me, Mike, you know, we can see Mike, you know, we can get both versions of it.
Right. I think what are those things? GoPros are good. I think.
Yeah, we're gonna use the kind of lapel ones, you know, so that we're kind of seeing each other. We really do. We connect, and we actually, Mike and I are so linked. That's why I call us the spiritual twins. Is he'll be at work. He works in a hospital. So when he's walking around, there are spirits there, of course.
Oh, definitely.
And I'll call him a couple of weeks ago. I called him. I said, hey, man, you need to be careful when you're getting off of an elevator. I said, something is going to come at you. I don't know what it is. And he did. He got zinged the minute he got out of an elevator on one of the floors. And it's the psychiatric floor that he has to go to that's closed down. But I mean, we all know what happens to those people.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Now, do you guys feel like, because, you know, NSPS TV, our goal is to investigate things that people don't like to investigate, or people just having a tendency, you know, to want to look over, you know, and
like sanatoriums, or is that what you're talking about? Things like that?
Well, I'm just thinking, you know, I'm just talking about an abandoned building on the side of the road. Nobody even cares
doesn't bother us.
Yeah, and so do you guys you know, because we're not heavily funded. you know, like some of these
Right.
teams are.
Neither
So
are we. We have
we,
no sponsors.
yeah, so we got to take it as we can get it, and you
Yeah.
know, and how do you feel about spending these big money? I mean, all this big money going into these well-known, you know, so-called hotspots, and you know, getting the same results as freaking 50 other paranormal teams that go in there and get the same. You know, it's to me, it's
You know,
just a money scheme. You know, so me personally, we don't do that. I mean,
right.
people have always told me, well, why you don't go to that place up in I can't think of the name of it. The big hotel. And apparently there's a school not too far from where you live that burnt down, and there's a big
Yeah.
hotel. You know, I just can't see myself spending $300 or
No,
$500 just to
no.
go in that place.
We, not me personally, I have not investigated, but we have paid for a couple of places that is a favorite of some of our members. We have gone there. I myself, I feel like everyone has a right to be entrepreneurial. Okay.
Yeah, I can
And
see
if
that.
you can go in there and contribute to knowledge that hasn't already been, cool.
Right.
If you're grabbing hold of somebody's shirt tails so that you can spike your hair a little bit more, or you know, afford a little bit more expensive equipment, you know, to each his own. It's not my
Right.
style. I have yet to take $1 for anything that I've done. I wouldn't mind eventually being able to actually, you know, be funded. So, you know, I wouldn't shy away from a sponsor, but I definitely think that our group, we like to help people. We want to go into the people that need some answers, that are scared. Sometimes we do them for fun, you know, to go out and find new locations.
Right.
But me, I don't need to walk on the path. I have lived my life on the rocky side of the mountain. So I don't mind climbing a little bit to get where I'm
I
going.
feel you. Um, I'm glad you said mountains. How often do you guys get a chance to go, let's say, you know, out of the state, you know, and just go visit something you've never, you know, that nobody's ever been before? How often you
Well,
guys get a chance to do
I myself, no matter where I go, I come across something, you know.
that?
But as a team, we are setting a trip up to go up to Myrtle Plantation, I believe is what it's called.
Okay, that's in Louisiana.
Yeah, and then we're going to go up to New Orleans, which I've never been to New Orleans. I'm actually very nervous.
What? You've never
I
been?
have never. You have to think, for someone who you know is like me, New Orleans could be a very dangerous place.
Now, if you're as sensitive as you say you are,
Extremely.
I think me personally, I think you're gonna get hit with the brick wall
Oh man.
because I think because New Orleans is oh man,
Woo,
that place there
man,
is
let me
very,
tell you,
there's
just
a
talking
lot,
about it.
yeah,
Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff that's there,
yeah.
and I'm just,
I will not be going without our healer, because
yeah.
my new perfume for New Orleans will be white sage with some little sweet grass. Let me tell you, because I will be saging everywhere I go.
Because I
But
think everything will come at you. Everything will come at you at once. You
and
know.
a lot of times I can avoid in a normal situation, I can avoid it because I don't acknowledge them. So if I'm not acknowledging the spirit, they can't all the time catch on that I know.
That
It's
you
not
are.
like they just automatically know. They watch for cues,
Right.
you know. But with them being such a permanent part of my life, I'm just kind of like, hey, what's up? Excuse me, you know, without even,
Right.
you know, realizing it. So I have to be conscious and not acknowledge them. But New Orleans, especially after Katrina, with all of that death soaking into that rock and the dirt and the crypts and
Yeah.
this, you know, I mean, the metal, not so much, but, you know, all of the wood, the trees. I mean, there was so much death and it was there for so long. I'm very nervous about the attachments and the
Yeah.
vibration.
Now, the Myrtle's plantation.
Mhm. Now, don't tell me anything about it because I don't need to be polluted.
Well, I was gonna tell you,
Yep, don't, no,
I'm not
don't
gonna
tell me.
tell you.
We'll compare notes when we get back.
Well, I've never been there personally,
Yeah.
but I have other teams that went, and they come back and tell me it's
Things that
just,
we're going to talk about when I get back.
you know what? Only thing I can say is if you're gonna go doing off season when there's not too many
Yeah, we're going
people
in
there.
September.
Yeah, that would be the best time. Anytime during the spring or the summer.
Oh, no.
No, that wouldn't be, because there's too many people there.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know,
it's too
so
many vibrations. I wouldn't be able to feel anything anyway. But I am supposed to meet somebody in New Orleans. I don't know who she is. I'll know when I get there. But I've known for about 3 years that I'm supposed to go. She has some information for me that's going to help me mature into something else. So I will meet someone when I'm there. She's waiting on me. Like our healer, I dreamed about our healer 20 years ago. I described a belt she used to own. And the first time I met her, I go, I know you. I dreamed about you. Like, and I'll dream in 6 segments of 3. I'll dream the same dream for 3 days. And when I dream it for 3 days, I know that has to be interpreted. It's not something from food or stress or something. And I dreamed about Teresa 20 years ago.
Wow. You guys are the best of friends now, or?
We're very, very good acquaintances. I mean, we don't see each other much,
Right.
but we are friends. But we don't like, kick it all the time or anything. But
Okay.
she's amazing. She's just amazing. She can do anything. She's literally a superwoman. Like, seriously.
Well, that's cool. I mean, as a paranormal team, we try to bond, or we're sort of like a little small family.
Yeah, that's how we are.
We try to help each other out when we can. We just brought 2 new members in.
Wow.
And we're debating on how can I say it? He was one of the founding members of the team. He actually, when I proposed to bring, to do this, he was one of the guys that I talked to. Only for the simple fact I've been knowing him for over 20 something plus years. He was, yeah. So, I mean, despite all the BS that goes on, I still have this attachment to him, only for the simple fact, that he knows my family, knows my kids, but yet I can't tolerate the BS that goes that comes to the table.
I am literally the most zero drama bitch. I don't want to hear none of it. Take your mess out the door. I got no time for it.
Yeah, I mean, because there is a lot of because I used to, not only did COVID, we were very active. I did a lot of podcasting also. I mean,
This is my first podcast, and I've been invited to be on about 20 podcasts, and this is my first one. So
well, you
thanks
know what?
for breaking me in.
Thank you for hey, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. And Instagram, we have over 1,400 followers. Half of those guys are podcast members from other states.
How fun.
Yes, and and once I got, really recognized where, people saw me being active, and I'm like, hey man, I need you to come on. I need you to do this. Can you do this for me? Right. And I'm like, sure. I mean, I'll do it.
Well, we need to put this legitimate content out so that people don't think that it's all about the smoke and mirrors. It's not all about what you're watching on TV. The more content we put out, it's better so that people that are coming up with these skills are not scared like I was when I first started having these things happen.
And you know what? And I think YouTube is doing exactly that. As long as you guys have a YouTube channel?
No, we don't.
Oh, you have to get one.
Yeah.
It takes maybe 5 minutes.
That is that I know of. But remember, I don't mess around with them. We may have it and I just don't know.
Well, but you guys, especially you, because you're like I say, a special person, and you bring a lot, and you bring a lot to the table So
Well,
a
thank
lot,
you.
a
I
lot of
appreciate
people,
it.
a lot of people will focus on you and what you know and your abilities. And
Oh,
once
well,
that
thank you.
happens, man, I think you guys were. It'll just blow up from there. You know
You
what
know,
I'm
Mike
saying?
and I have actually talked about, we've talked with our founder about it. You know, he and I sitting down and watching, you know, the videos and actually talking about, you know, kind of split screen, like, oh yeah,
Mhm.
do you remember, you know, when that was happening? Because we get hit by so much, like we know, the spirits know before Mike and I actually have dinner, because we try to connect at least every 3 months, even during COVID, you
Right.
know, just to make sure that that bond is still
Still
connected.
there.
And it's literally from the minute he walked in, I felt like I'd seen my brother that I had not seen in 20 years. And we had never met.
Never met.
And we
Wow.
finish each other's sentences. Like we don't have to actually communicate. We already know. Like
You
we already
already
know
know.
with the other person.
Well,
Yeah. So it's a
how
special thing.
how often do you guys promote your paranormal team? Do you guys are social media fanatics? I mean, do you guys, Instagram, Facebook?
You know, we
Uh,
probably need to be a little more studious about it, but all of our members have full-time jobs. I'm kind of the only loafer around here because I have my, you know, I don't work for anybody. I
right.
pretty much do my own thing. But you know, we are in the works of really starting to kick it into overdrive now that everything's going, and now I'm no longer married. So yeah, so that frees up a lot of time. I have no dinners to cook and no
Well,
laundry to do. So,
I'm glad you brought that up because that was my next question.
uh-huh.
How did your husband feel about your special abilities? Was he
Well,
kind
at first he was a naysayer a little bit, but then when his dad started waking me up, asking him questions, when you
of,
wake up your husband, you know, and go, I don't know what the hell this means, but somebody is saying, where the hell is the tractor? And then he wakes up and he goes, what? And I said, this man that sounds like you is asking me where the hell the tractor is. And he goes, oh my God, that it must be my dad. We sold the tractor a few years after he died.
uh-oh.
And so his dad, but you know, it's actually kind of a curse. Like I really believe that a lot of that was some of the downfall of our marriage because I had no peace.
Oh,
Once we
okay.
lived on Indian ground, so once the Indian spirits knew, then you know I would see them and I could feel some of them, and then you know I would see I call them echoes. So it's not, the person is no longer there, but it's
Hmm.
something that they continuously did in their life,
Right.
that seems to still echo through
Okay.
time. It's almost, I just call it an echo. I don't know if there's a real name for it, but I would see that. And then his dad was constantly coming to me. And you know, I'm trying to sleep and I have his dad asking me questions, but his dad did save my life. And
Okay.
it's a crazy story if you'd like to hear it. I'm willing to tell you.
Oh, let me hear it. Let me hear it. I gotta hear it.
So we lived way out in the country, like 6 miles on a Caliche road from the main road that was like buku miles away from town. So it
Now,
was one of those spring days where you've already put out your vegetables, but then all of a sudden hail comes. You know,
oh,
it's a thunderstorm and hail. And so we put them in 5-gallon buckets and I was grabbing them to put underneath the oak tree.
okay.
Well, my husband's supposed to be at work. Well, all of a sudden I'm running out and I'm full dart, soaking wet. It's raining, hail's coming down, trying to save all these damn baby squash plants, all $12 of them, you know, and all of a sudden I hear a crack, like a loud crack. And it feels like my husband's hands are on my shoulders, pushes me down to the ground. I do like a herky complete cheerleader split, which at over 40 is no longer fun to do. So I do a complete herky on the ground and I'm down, and a lightning bolt had struck the corner post and was coming across to one of our posts. So there was a current coming across and it got so close to my head while I'm on the ground, my hair stood up.
Wow.
And I heard that, it cracked. It was horrifying, right? And I just knew that my husband had came home and had gotten hit, because it felt like my husband's hands. And it got my shoulders and shoved me down. And I just knew, my husband was dead. There's no way he would have made it through that. And I turned around and there was no one there.
No one there.
No one. And my husband and his father were like twinsies. Same hands, same structure, same everything. And it was crazy. I called my husband scared to death, shaking. Your dad just saved my life. It takes an unusual man to get a phone call about his dead dad from his wife saying, your dad just saved my life.
I mean, if it was me, I probably would just hang up on you, but
being in a relationship with me is a whole nother experience.
Oh, I can imagine. I mean, you sound like you're a handful.
I'm probably 2 or 3 handfuls. You probably gotta get a bucket to catch on. But
well,
times
so
are what
funny.
they are, and it just wasn't the right time for it. So
Right.
I wish him luck, and I hope him the best.
Are you guys still friends?
Oh no.
Oh.
Yeah. We'll just leave it at that.
Well,
but I wish him the best.
Well, okay. I mean, it is what it is. They come and they go.
It is what it is.
I mean,
and I'm sure he's a perfect man for somebody.
Yeah. There's always someone for somebody out there. You never know. So tell me some of the places you guys actually been to. I mean,
there's the Nut House in Granbury. They've been to the jail. We have been out to numerous homes, which is primarily what I deal with, is the homeowners. That's just, we've been out to one place Gabe took me out to, which is our founder, Gabe Gonzalez. And there was actually a voodoo lady attached to that house. And it was the creepiest thing, man. We pull up to this house and it's almost to the road. So chain link fence, old house. It was moved in from, they call it, I won't even say what it is because I don't want to disclose the address, but it was a home that had been moved in.
Okay.
And they had a shed. So the place is creepy as hell anyway. And I'm like, well, great. Thanks, Gabe. Let me stop and get some new sage on the way home. But, we pull up and the first thing I notice is there are beaks, bird beaks and feathers everywhere, man. It's like gravel. They are everywhere. Anytime I see a bunch of dead birds, I'm like, whoa, we're not trying to be messing with no voodoo and no hoodoo. I don't want none of that now. No.
Now, do you think voodoo, what exactly do you think voodoo is? Do you think it's a...
Well, it's a religion.
You think it's a religion or you think it's a cult?
Oh man, you're messing around in territory that gets real controversial.
Right.
Because I believe, in my opinion, that voodoo is a religion.
Religion? Right.
I do. Because there is an entity in that is, a leader. Now, granted, cults have leaders too.
Right.
But in voodoo, I don't see a lot of brainwashing where I would see that in, say, what I would consider a cult.
Right.
It is something that is taught. It is something that some people feel within them is their religion, their worshiping practice. So I respect them for that choice, but I don't want to piss anyone off. I like to err on the cautious side. Right. But I do believe it's a religion.
Okay.
I do. A cult is not a religion. A cult is a following, a misled following.
Right.
And I don't believe anyone in voodoo is misled in their belief.
Right. For one, because it's been around for millions of years.
Yeah. Some say back all the way to Adam and Eve. I mean, that it is from the beginning. So I'm not going to knock anyone for their religion. No. I may not practice in it, but yeah, I do think that voodoo is and hoodoo, are not cults. I believe they are
Right.
religion.
I mean, who am I to say a million people? I mean, a million years. I mean, not me. I ain't saying
Not me.
for each his own, brother. I mean,
Right.
I'm good with it. You know,
Right.
like if I ever meet somebody and they want to share their, their stories, I'm more than welcome to listen.
Whew.
But I'm keeping my mouth shut. I'm not asking any
You know
questions.
what? I've never met anyone in voodoo that really wants to talk about it. It's
Well, yeah,
they'll brush on it, but they're very private.
they are very private. And
Yeah.
trust me, I've been to the most backiness woods. I don't even know if that's a word, backiness.
Hey,
But
my people go deep east, and there's, it's little known fact, but there's a lot of voodoo back in those East
yeah,
Texas pines.
East Texas,
Oh yeah.
East Texas, Louisiana.
Oh yeah. Because I'm from Tyler, so we're only an hour and a half from Shreveport.
Right.
All that stuff leaks,
Yeah, you really be surprised
Yeah,
on how things are in this world, man. It's really
definitely.
crazy. Uh, like I say, I've been doing this for almost 2 years, and I
Uh-huh.
run across all kind of, people, and I've talked to so many different, mediums, paranormal investigators, and
Right.
I've met some cool ones, and I've met some strange ones, you
Man,
know.
I have definitely met a little bit of everything.
But you know
Yeah,
what? It's in the world that we're in. One thing I can say is it's nonstop,
it
and
is.
you're forever learning. So what you're learning today, and it might be something new tomorrow.
Definitely. You
You
have to
know,
constantly go into this with an open mind and an open heart, because if you are turned off on either one of those, you're going to bring in prejudice of some sort.
yeah,
You just can't do it. And you can't you can't let the naysayers, come in and block you. You just,
no,
some people just, honestly, I don't even think they mean to. They just cannot wrap their brain around it.
yeah.
And, it's just how it is. It's just how it is, man. And you just got to go with it.
Yes, ma'am. I agree with you on that. Uh, how often do you guys get a chance to do joint investigations with other paranormal teams?
To my knowledge, we have not done any.
What?
I know I haven't. Mike and I have always wanted to go out and branch and get to know. I believe it's important for the paranormal groups to stay in contact and to not have the competitive nature that a lot tend to want to have. We're not in competition.
God damn it!
We
You
all
know what?
contribute.
I'm glad you said that, because that was my next question. You know, we're not in competition.
No.
We are really not. And if one team can help another team, that is
Yes.
great. If somebody else wants to bring something else to the table, man, that would be freaking great. I would definitely appreciate it, because I tell you what, there are some teams out there that are doing some unbelievable things.
And I feel, and I've talked to my other team members, and we really would like to be able to maybe, once a year have a gathering. Let's all get together, let's share stories, let's talk about things. Let's put an open, you know, invite out to, let's get
And
together every so
yeah,
often and
and
let's talk.
have a big old dialogue about
Yes,
everything.
yes,
I mean, I would be open for that. That is
we're in.
something that would be great. And hey, well, I can go tomorrow if you want. I mean, we can do this tomorrow. I mean,
Well, we will definitely have to put that on the spring, the spring thing. And Granbury used to have, hopefully this come back this coming up year, we have a paranormal festival downtown.
oh, really?
Yes, Granbury is all about the spirits and things. We drank a bunch of wine there. So,
Wow.
it's we're
Now,
open for anything.
I mean, who funds it? Is this a
It's just down at the square, and it's people, they pay to put their little booths in and their speakers. And the year that I went, I actually, you know, went up there and met some people, and I don't know her name because, you know, I don't watch these shows, but she had done Goatman's Bridge and some other stuff. And, you know, the problem that I have, and I'm not going to say with her, but I'll say with paranormal groups who are more pizzazz, is that they want to try and look at an individual like me as if we are being false without watching an investigation.
Right.
Now, I get it. If you're a little scared of me, that's cool. I'm good with that. You know, I keep you on your toes. So, you know, I'm not new to be, you know, intimidating a few fools, but, you know, all I can do, and all the members of mine in other groups, members in there, all we can do is help each other.
Right.
You know?
I mean, that's all. That's all you should ever want to do. You shouldn't want to hurt
when you're
nobody.
wanting ratings, that's when you get greedy, and that's when you get competitive, and that's when you get rude.
Yeah. And, you know, and that's where a lot of shows, I'm glad you brought that up. That'd be my next question. I know you don't watch TV much, but that's where
I just don't watch anything about that. That's my real world. Why do I want to watch that?
That's the reason why a lot of paranormal TV shows fall off the map, you know, because they get hot-headed.
And they get ridiculous. Are you fucking kidding me?
You know, it's all about the money.
You know, they're like, oh, this is coming up. And I'm like, oh, that is the stupidest shit I have ever heard. And I mean, here's my question. Now, I'm sure somebody's been bit by a spirit. Okay, sure. Didn't know dentures go along with the soul, but whatever. That's not my thing. But I have been scratched, you know. To show a human bite mark on an advertisement for a spirit in a basement from, you know, 1700s. Come on, dude.
Yeah,
you just had your producer bite the shit out of your arm right before you put that picture. You know, it takes a lot. When you're thinking of reality, it takes a lot for a spirit to manifest enough energy to do anything. Why the effing hell would they decide to bite
you? Exactly. Why would they waste all that energy just to bite you?
Yes,
you know?
Because it takes, even as a human, it takes a lot of energy to bite someone and leave a tooth mark.
Right.
I mean, and they're pulling off of energy that they have to absorb from something, plus have the knowledge how to absorb. So why the hell, if they got something to say, they're going to worry about biting you like some rabid dog? And people buy that crap.
You got a point there. You know, I never thought about it, but you got a point.
You know, scratching.
Oh,
I
God.
believe can happen. You know, textiles will scratch.
I mean, I believe in a push every now and then.
Yeah.
But
you know, I've had my hair rubbed. That tends to be a thing. The older the spirit, and usually a female, I will have them pet my hair. Now, small children spirits like to pull my hair. I don't know if you've noticed, but I have extremely long hair.
Mm-hmm.
So when I investigate, I tend to have to put it up because a small child will tug at my hair.
Yeah.
Like, that's a child thing. But a woman, and a lot of times I tend to have a more, what do they call it? A timeless look.
Mm-hmm.
I can look like I'm in the 1800s. I can look like I'm, you know, throughout time, the 60s, you know. So a lot of people whose daughters died in the 60s or 70s with the long hair, a lot of time these women will think that I'm their child or their mother.
Right.
And they will want to touch my hair. They will want to, you know, that's the maternal. I can tell you 100% this. Maternal instinct does not die after death.
Oh no, I don't think so either, because it's so strong. I mean, it is
so strong. It is, once you become a parent and a mother. I'm not a father, so I can't speak for you men. I'm sure it's probably in some kind of equal thing, but for a mother, the minute you have a child, you have put parts of yourself into this human, and they take parts of you with them. I mean, that is part of it. You know, you have, you know, you share blood, you share everything, you absorb all of their waste. I mean, you are completely and utterly linked. So, you know, that doesn't go away. And like you and I have spoke on the phone, you know, briefly, that I believe it's good to have a man and a woman pair go in for investigations. I don't like the all men or the all women, not for some, you know, bullshit. I don't hear no emails or anything like that. I'm not saying it's bad to have all boy power or girl power. I don't give a shit about that. I'm just saying, for the spirits, it's better to have a male and a female, because you never know what time period the spirit is coming through from. And you know,
and I'm glad you mentioned that, because it's weird, because we had an investigation at an abandoned nursing home in Elgin, Texas, literally 2 weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
And I kid you not, we had Ken and Pam, two of our newest members. They were together, and they got more reaction than me. I mean, I'm like,
yeah. I 100% believe that you need to have a male and a female, especially if they have a connection like Michael and I have, because it is, I mean, you have to think, it's kind of like, you know, a man and woman. I mean, this is the yin and the yang. This is the, you know, everything in the world has an equal and opposite partner.
Right.
I mean, it's just how it is. It's how it is in nature. It's how it is everywhere. And
yeah, it's crazy.
It's important. And I'm glad that you have a pair. Are they like Michael and I? Are they connected that way? And
well, no, they're not. They're husband and wife.
Oh, well, then
connected.
Not even getting in that whole thing. But you know, on that point, since we are raw, I do believe now, Michael and I have never, and we're brother and sister. Let's just get this straight right here. But I love him. I do anything for him. 5 hours away, he's broke down, I'll come get him. You know, but I do believe that there is a bond between two humans who have had intercourse. I believe that. And with you having a married couple, they do share a kinetic bond that may be getting picked up by your spirits, even if they're not like Mike and I, as far as the spiritual, you know, abilities. I think that there is a certain power with that.
And what was so weird about that investigation, this nursing home was built in the 50s. Mind you, that all the immigrants that was coming over here from, you know, post World War II.
Okay.
And most of these kids didn't know what to do with their parents. So they put them in a nursing home. And, you know, and some kids were going with their lives and forget about their parents. And
there is no more sorrowful place than, in my opinion, than a nursing home.
A nursing home. So when we went there, I kind of felt like I was pushed aside. You know, they didn't react towards me, which is kind of weird. But the way the spirits and the way these entities were talking to them felt like they were back in the 50s. So everything that they said, wait a minute, dude, that is a 50s thing. Everything they talked about was just pure late 40s, 50s, maybe 60s. And it was just
that
weird.
is important. That is important for people to do. They need to do their research. You need to have someone, we have people on our team, you need to have someone in your team who is knowledgeable about the history of the place. And not your investigators like us. You need to keep these things compartmentalized. And I said, these are your researchers. These are your, you know.
And I felt kind of weird because I am the only African-American on the team. So I'm thinking maybe some of those whatever they were focusing on them, because they really didn't deal with African
No.
Americans back in
And
the
you have to
late
be
40s and
conscious of
50s.
things like that.
But that's the impression that I got. I'm like, well, they're not talking to me, because we actually had a voice recorder, and every time Pam and Ken would say something, they'll get a response. Every
Right.
time I would say something, I think they would like throw their nose up in the air and like, hey, I don't want to deal with this guy.
Well, Terry, we get the same thing. You got to think, if you've got an African-American spirit, they're less likely to talk to, say, Mike and I, and certainly not Mike.
Yeah.
I will get a woman, an African-American woman will talk to me long before she'll ever talk to Mike.
To Mike.
Yeah.
And, and it was so, I felt so out of place.
Yeah. And it is an awkward feeling.
It's a very awkward feeling.
Almost feel your feeling like through here. It's so weird.
It was so weird. I felt so out of place that, but then again, I also felt like, hey, we're getting the job done.
That's right. You have to put your feelings aside.
You can't, when you're a paranormal team, you can't bring in your feelings. If somebody wants to talk to you, they talk to you. If they don't, they don't.
Exactly. And some people will talk to some people they want. We've had people go, well, I know my house is haunted. Well, I'm not saying there isn't someone here. I'm just saying, even with all of my abilities, but I also usually, when there is a spirit, there's also some form of attachment feeling. In some houses, I don't care how many things fall, there's just no vibration. There's not that feeling in the home for me. Right. And maybe it's just me. I'm not saying the people are wrong. I'm just saying maybe they need to reach out to another member of my team, to see what they pick up, or maybe that's a time to bring in the machines.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there.
I would never tell anyone they were wrong. You are just wrong, because who am I to say that? I'm not a robot. I can't flip this stuff on. I can't do card tricks. I can't say, hey, but grandmas love me, they want to. I was on awkward on a dating site, talking to a man for the first time right before Christmas. And I go, so no, you don't know me like this. And we're probably never going to go out. But especially after I tell you this, but there's an older lady telling me not to forget to candy the pecans. And he goes, excuse me? And I said, listen, dude, I'm just okay. There's an old lady in some little nurse looking shoes. I can't see them with my eyes, but I can process and see them with my brain. And I said, she's in a brown dress with a little belt and she's got curly hair, and she's telling me to tell you to tell someone not to forget to candy the pecans this year.
Oh, and wow.
He goes, holy shit. And I was like, yes, I know we're never going on a date. And by the way, no, we have never gone on a date. But he says, my great grandmother's pecan pie recipe, she candied the pecans before putting them in the pie. And my mother thinks that's too much work and doesn't want to do it anymore.
Oh, okay.
So somebody's Nona was going, she better snap into it.
Yeah, right.
Get my recipe right.
And get it right. Because
I did not get a first date on that one, but I did tell that his Nona said she better candy them pecans.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
Well, it's like I've always tell people, man, you never know what you're going to get in this.
You don't, and you got to be careful.
And you got to be careful. And you have to be knowledgeable.
Yes.
You can't go into something thinking that, okay, one day I'm just going to be a paranormal investigator. Right there, where you get yourself hurt freaking quick.
That's what I was just about to say. These people with these Ouija boards and things, they're crazy. They're crazy.
And I don't understand that. But this is the thing that I don't.
I'm just going to say right now, 100%, you can send me emails. Anyone that fucks with the Ouija board is nuts.
And what's
You
so
don't know what you're opening.
And what's so crazy about it? It seemed like they're getting younger and younger. I've seen teenagers.
Oh my God.
Between the ages of 13 and 16, just because you see this on TV and they try to explain it to you how it works, you don't know what the hell you're doing with it.
Oh my gosh, so many things. Are these witch books? You know, I have a lot of witch books. I've told my daughter, who's very religious, just look at my witch books, because they're really not witch books. They put witch on them to sell them to stupid people that then sell them back to the bookstore that I buy them. And they're mainly herbal books. It's all about herbal medicine. And, you know, if they do have spells, I literally glue them together, because I don't want my grandkids getting in there and reading some spell and taking a chance of that thing actually being real. The one time a Texas kid gets Latin right and they drink some shit up from somewhere. So I glue the pages shut. Now, yeah, I'm not taking any chances.
What do you think about all these paranormal movies that are out? I mean, how do you feel about that? I mean, I know you don't watch them. I mean,
I've watched a few of the movies. I mean, I love like The Craft and hope, you know, things like that. I'm all about that stuff, but it's for entertainment. But I do like to watch some of the movies because I like to see what they get right and what they get
wrong.
Yeah.
Like Annabelle.
Oh no, I'm a big chicken shit. I'm not even playing with that nonsense. My mother has seen the real Annabelle and the boy puppet that's like a sailor or something.
Yeah.
My mom will go see all that stuff. I'm not even jacking around with it. I've been scared of the dark since I was little. And this is something odd you may not have ever heard, and I would actually like to hear people's feedback about it. How many people who have talents like mine were born with night terrors? I was born, from the day I was born, I had night terrors.
Really?
Yes. Have had nightmares, horrible nightmares my entire life. And I would be curious to know how many people that have abilities like mine have nightmares and have had them since they were children. It's interesting though.
Yeah, it is. You got me mind.
I have met probably 40 or 50 people who have different talents who were born with night terrors that have abilities similar to mine. And mine are ever evolving. I'm picking up new things. The more that I put myself into it, I'm picking up now smells. And it gets all weird, man. We could literally have a podcast every week and I would never run. Yeah. Wow, because I've lived almost 45 years of, you know, things happening. I mean, as early as me, here's a tidbit that you might not know, but is a true fact. I've seen it, I've witnessed it, I've heard it. So when a child starts to draw, they're taught by a coloring book, and a coloring book is drawn with black lines. Okay, so an average child would start to draw with a pencil or a black crayon. They will outline everything in a black crayon and color it in because they're taught to, you know, a coloring book. Okay, well, a child who sees auras will outline things in colors other than black and brown. So it's something to watch with your kids. Are they outlining things? Are the clouds outlined in blue and colored in with blue? Because a child who sees auras is more likely to draw the outline of a human in a color, because that's how they see people, with colors around.
With color. So
if you're seeing a child who draws and they do it with a dark color, they're a perfect, you know, mainstream. Not that the other children are not perfect. They're just a uniquely perfect kind of child.
Well, I'm glad you brought children up. What do you think about children? I know you have some with abilities. What do you think about children with abilities? Should they be afraid of their abilities, or should they welcome their abilities? Because
children are not innately born with fear. I think that children are fearless, and I believe that I mean, of course they are like fight or flight kind of fear, but you know, children are not born prejudiced. Children are not born with hate in their heart.
No,
You know, it's taught.
it's
If
taught
their
to them.
parents are scared of it, they're going to be scared of it, or they're going to think they're crazy. You know,
Right?
my mother is very open to all of this, but I do things that my mother doesn't do. So she couldn't tell me, hey, you're not crazy, you know,
Right.
because she, and I'm sure she still to this day thinks,
Because
you know,
a child's mind, a child mind is very, very incredible. I mean, the kids are very well in tune.
that's
Um,
good. And
uh,
you have these children yourself that have the abilities.
no, my kids are just crazy.
Oh, well, you know, all of them are crazy. It's just which kind of crazy.
I mean,
But
because
you know,
you know, I watch a lot of TV and well, not much of TV. I watch a lot of YouTube, and people
yeah,
put a lot of their stories on YouTube, you know,
yeah.
and I do a lot of history, and I do a lot of research. I mean, I'll come home from work, I get off at like
Mhm.
midnight, and I probably won't go to bed till like 3 or 4, and get up at 7 and
Right.
start it
Well,
all over again.
addressing the children, because I do have a lot of views about these kids. I have a daughter who's LGBTQ, and when she was younger, she would bring home these children who were cutters and things like that, you know, and I would bandage
Hmm.
them and love them and do what I could for them while they were with me. And I think that a lot of the children within that community and a lot of the children who have these mental issues, I think they have abilities that no one understands that they have abilities. You know, I hate to bring in the whole like X-Men, you know, kind of thing where all
Right.
these kids go off to this school. But I do believe that a lot of the children who are on antipsychotics and ADHD medicine and all of these things, mainly the mental stabilizers, I think that they are dealing with issues of they are hypersensitive to things and they are literally on overload. There is too much going on in the world, you know, for them to be able to focus. And then when they do see things, they're told they're crazy. You know,
Yeah.
of course you're going to need medication. They're going to put you on medicine because you're not fitting in with the normal. Jesus Christ, if I took medicine for everything that was off with me, I would be on complete pills all the time. But
Right.
I've been around enough and I've been rebellious enough to know that it's okay to not be just like everyone else. That's the
Exactly.
wonderful thing about humans is that we are all different and it's okay. You know, you may not be crazy. You have to know to how to become self-aware of your own self to pick the crazy from the gift. You
Exactly.
know, 'cause we're all crazy.
And you know
We
what?
are.
And some people, like you're saying, don't know the difference between the two.
No.
And that's why we had so many kids back in the late 1900s and the 20th century that was just abandoned. I mean,
Oh
parents
man,
because parents didn't understand them
man. No, because parents were selfish.
and selfish. I
It was
mean,
all about them and how they would look to their
they,
friends and their work. It wasn't about
exactly.
their children.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm glad time has changed.
You know,
You
it
know,
hasn't changed as much as we wish it had.
yeah, you're right.
I see
But
with my daughter being, you know, in that, and I have a son who is unique, and I have a daughter, you know, who all my children are good humans, but all very different. And, you know, I wish that there was more acceptance on some things and less acceptance in
on
others.
others.
You know, a little less people acting a fool and,
Yeah.
you know, a little bit more on the priorities of how to keep these children functioning and to be okay. It's
And
okay to be weird.
and
When you're weird, you turn
yeah,
into, you
it
know,
makes the world.
people
I
like
mean,
us.
weirdness makes the world go around, dude. You'd be
Yes.
surprised
How
because just
boring
think
could it be?
exactly. Just think how boring it would be if there was no
Mhm.
people like me, no people like you, and it would just be everybody was just what's that TV show when it was like black and white and everybody was in black and white. It was just like they just kept doing the same shit over and over every single freaking day.
I don't know. The closest thing I can say is like Groundhog Day. That's as close as I've got on that.
You know, the dad would come home from work in his black and white suit. The mom would have the little 60s dress with the polka dots and the little
like
bow.
a Leave It to Beaver kind of
Yeah,
thing?
something like that. Dude, you can you imagine how the world would be if it was like that every time?
But you know what? It did have its perks. You know, everybody stayed in their lane. You know, there wasn't no cross laning. You know, everyone, I feel sometimes like life goes better when everyone knows where they belong. You know, back then it was delusional and it was preset, but at least everyone had a sense of knowing where they were.
Yeah.
You know, not because you chose it, because you were told it, but there is some comfort within that too.
Yeah.
But now it's just too much knowledge and too much false knowledge.
Well, you know what? I blame the internet for most of it.
As we are here going to be posted on the internet. I got you.
Yeah. So you know the double-edged sword on that one.
I think you can't blame the gun. You have to blame the holder. You know, and it's the same thing with the internet. We're literally living in a time where we have literal facts at our fingertips, but we're choosing to believe the stupid shit because we're lazy. You know, I say do the research. You don't have to believe me, do the research. People listen to two TikTokers and they are, you know, experts on the topic. And I'm like, you want to know the topic, you take it down to the law, you take it down to the professor, you take it down to the history, you take it down to the root. Don't believe a leaf, take it to the root.
You got to take it to the base, take it to the
Yeah.
That you are so right on that, dude. I mean, you've been right on every topic that we've talked about tonight.
Well, thank you so much.
I've learned a lot tonight, you know, and believe it or not, I thought I was going to do a lot of talking, but I'm glad that, you know, you actually, you did a lot of things that most people are afraid to do, and that take control. And I'm glad you did that in this podcast.
Well, that is also a fault of mine. So forgive me if I didn't stay in my lane. But
you took control, and you know what? I actually learned a lot today. You know, on just how different people are. You know, and it's just mind-boggling how much you can learn just over a podcast. And
well, you know, we need to keep these open. I'm glad that you're doing this because I don't usually get an arena to where I can talk about these things. I'm not just someone who just started doing this, or I'm not someone who, I have lived this life and I have evolved. You know, I started in the water and now I walk on land. Well, you know, that's how it is. And I'm not done evolving. So the more that I can teach and the more that I can learn, the more I will evolve and help evolution.
Well, you know, the best thing for you to do is start a podcast.
I wouldn't even know how to start.
You know, it is so simple. I thought it was going to be hard. You know, you already got the foundation. You already know what you want to talk about.
Oh, I'll talk about anything. You want to talk about rodeo? What do you want to talk about?
But, you know, but your book is already, you know, half written.
It is.
So, you know, let's go ahead and before you write the other half of that book, why not share that first 6 chapters of it with other people, then come back and write that other 6. So you can do that. I mean, it is so easy.
I'm flattered that you think people would want to listen to me.
I'm serious. People, you'd be surprised. Hey, how many paranormal investigators you think that are out there right now?
Oh man, it's like you said, you know, you cross the road and you bump into 3.
Yeah, there are literally in Texas, I can almost tell you, there are probably 6 million paranormal investigators in the state.
Isn't that insane?
Yes.
Like imagine if we collaborated. Can you imagine the good that we could do?
Oh, definitely.
The answers, the people that we could put at rest, you know, that the people that could sleep at night, humans and souls.
And
You know,
just,
how much
yeah.
good we could do.
Okay, and just think how many people just in the state of Texas or want to tell their story just like
Yes.
you.
That's true.
There are more people like you than you know. It's just that they
Lord
are,
help society if there's
yeah.
more of me.
I mean, he might be your next door neighbor. You will never know because they keep it on the wraps because they're
Well,
afraid.
I live in an apartment complex, so I'm pretty sure I know everybody's business.
They are too afraid to share.
And it is
what they
scary.
know.
It's very, very scary. I did not talk openly about it until probably 5 years ago.
Uh-oh. Hold on. Lost you.
Are you there?
You there?
I am.
You there? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I can't hear you. All right,
How odd,
hold
can you
on.
see
Let
me?
me figure this out. You there?
I am.
Oh man, what happened? Okay, what about now?
I can hear you.
But I cannot hear you. I mean,
Can you see me?
uh, no, can't hear you. I'm still recording, so
It
that
is.
is weird.
That is odd. Maybe the spirits don't want us talking anymore.
Can you hear me now?
I can.
But I can't hear you, and that is so weird. Oh well, I mean, I'm totally, I don't know what the hell happened. All right. Well, before you leave, I know I can't hear you, but you can hear me. Please tell everybody how to get a hold of you. If if they want to reach out to you, and talk to you, because you never know. They might have the same, the same gift that you have. So how would they be able to reach out to you and contact you? Okay. I don't know what you said because I can't hear you. Okay. Well, Michelle, it's been a pleasure. Tell all the guys on the team I said hello, and I would love to have them on the show when they're in a further day down the line. Maybe we can set something up to have all of them on, and I would love to hear their stories. In the meantime, NSPS TV Paranormal Podcast is signing off. Michelle, you have yourself a good night and peace. Good night.